Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lacey, and this is a space for all things motherhood, lifestyle, and teaching. So, if you have not already seen my latest video about my postpartum depression and anxiety story, I'm going to link it up here somewhere so that you can go and catch up on the story. So, this is part 2. I want to first thank, oh my goodness, I want to thank all of the people who reached out to me, who messaged me, who, like, I was just overwhelmed with the love and the support, and just other moms who have been through the same things that I am going through, or things that are similar, or even things that are not similar, but who went through something in their postpartum period of their motherhood journey. So I just want to just say it made me feel so much better. It made me feel so many different things. It just really just made this experience, it gave me relief to know that I'm not alone and that other moms are going through this with me, but also to realize that when we go through things, we always think and assume that we're going through those things for ourselves, and it's never really for us. It's for somebody else. So I'm so grateful for this journey. So I'm going to jump right in and finish up this story because so many of you said that you were interested in this story and knowing the rest of my story, so I am here to share it. So let's jump into the rest of my symptoms. So I wrote some things down because after I listened to my other video and I just reflected on everything, it was like I started to realize that there were some things that I did not say that I forgot about because I wanted to forget about them, right? It was things that I didn't want to remember. And I really didn't even want to push them back to the front of my brain to recall those events or how I was feeling or what I said or how I acted. So it was really kind of eye-opening to me when I realized about these things. So one of the things was not wanting to talk to anyone. So when I say this, I'm not meaning in person. After having my baby girl, I of course talked to my mom, my husband, my dad, immediate family, my best friend, one of a very close friend of mine. She's like a big sister to me, and I talk to her a lot. But excuse me, but as far as people calling me and trying to talk to me, trying to ask me how I was doing, trying to see the baby, send me pictures of the baby, calling me on FaceTime, no. And it was so crazy because I think one of the reasons why I did not want to was because of what I just talked about. The fact that I didn't want anybody to call me and ask me how I was doing, and then I tell them that I was feeling depressed or I was not happy, or because I felt like they would kind of disregard that and say, oh, it's just this, or oh, it's gonna be okay, or girl, what are you sad about, or you have nothing to be sad. And I was afraid of hearing that. Now, not that these people who are calling me to check on me were ever gonna say that, but in my mind, I felt like they were. I felt like they were going to be, my mind just made me feel like everybody was going to judge me, that I wasn't going to be able to just express how I was feeling and not feel bad about it. So I didn't want to talk to anyone. People were calling me, and then that made me feel even worse because people would call me and I say, hey, I'm just not really up to talking. Or they would call me and I just would never call them back. Or even with text messages, I just didn't have the energy to talk, to just exert that energy into just saying how I was, because I knew that I wasn't in a good place. This next one is one that is very hard for me to talk about because it's almost like I'm ashamed. And I said that I was not going to cry this time, and I'm going to try really hard not to. But the second one was moments of rage. So this one was really rough because as an educator, as just a mom who really wants to raise my kids in a healthy household with healthy emotions and just being just healthy emotionally, this made me feel like a horrible mom. and it made me feel like a horrible person. And so many times I would like hug my baby and apologize to him and apologize to my husband, because I would get so overwhelmed, and sometimes I would like yell or scream, and it was not a good feeling. And it made me, there were times where I felt like I really scared my son because he didn't know, like, what is wrong with my mom? Like, and it wasn't like I was like going like, just like having these episodes of like screaming, but it was like I would just get so angry and upset about things because of what was happening in my body, I guess. I don't know. It was just really strange, and it wasn't me. And I remember one time my husband was telling me, he said, "Are you okay?" Like, he kept asking me because he knew that how I was responding to something that had happened was not normal. It was not okay. It was not me. It was not what I do. So, it was in those moments where I realized that I had started to react to some things with this rage and anger, that was not me. And there were times where I would get so frustrated with my toddler, for things that was normal, things that he was supposed to do, things that he was going to do. And I had to stop myself a lot of times and like just pray or take a deep breath or really just take a moment to step away and come back and try again. So, that was something that was really hard. It was really hard, and it happened. It happened often. I'm so thankful that, in these, like, recently, it has not. It's been something that I've been able to contain, and kind of figure out a new way to respond when I feel that rage building up in me, and what to do, how to, all those things. So, I will say that is something that has gotten better. I didn't cry. And I really want to say, that this is really hard. And I think a lot of people think that it's so easy, but this is really hard because it's almost like you are a different person and you're doing a lot of things that you normally would have never done, never said. And to share that with someone, especially like people who may personally know you, it's hard because they see you in a certain light. And then, like, so many people reached out to me who I love dearly and love me dearly and was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that you were going through that." And it's so amazing because, I really tried my hardest to show up in the places that I needed to show up in and be what I needed to be to other people while I was going through this. So as a teacher, even though I was going through a lot of things, I was unmotivated. I was just like experiencing all these feelings about my passion for teaching and my career and all those things. I still showed up with a smile and being loving and kind to people because that is who I'm supposed to be. And I can't, just because I'm not feeling a certain way, that doesn't mean that that's somebody else's fault or somebody else has to get a bad version of me or an angry version of me, because of that. So there were times where I would, and then that was also another thing, like doing that all day and then coming home. And I feel like a lot of times my family, would get the bad side of everything because the stresses of work and coming home and then finally being able to just relax and not like try to be all the time, that was also hard because then I would feel like, it's not fair to my family that I have like hid this hurt and everything that's happening with me all day long, and then I get home and I release it on the people that I love the most. And that was hard. Oh my goodness. It was really hard, because I knew that although things were happening within my mind and my heart, that it was not okay for me to be that person to my kids, to my husband. So yeah, that was something that was really hard. especially when it came to the rage and all those things. And I also want y'all to know that it is very late at night, and that's why I'm not as loud, because my family is sleeping. And I also have on a sweatshirt because it is cold in my house, and I really wanted to be presentable. So it was either going to be a blanket or this. So, yeah, so that was a lot. That was a lot. So, had that. So, the next thing that I feel like I experienced that was really major was being overstimulated. Like when it was like too much noise, or my toddler was making too much noise, or the baby was crying and he was doing something, or just like a lot of things were happening, like noise level wise. It would make me very frustrated and irritated, like almost like wanting to like pull my skin off, because it was just too much for me, especially in that mental state. So those were the times sometimes I feel like too, where the rage was kind of like triggered, where I would become very overwhelmed and I would get snappy and I would get upset and I would just become this ugly person, because of that overstimulation, or just me feeling just overwhelmed because of noise, or even, oh my goodness, touching. This is one that also made me feel really bad, because I would get overwhelmed by the touching, like the baby touching me, Christian touching me, even my husband. Like sometimes, like, okay, I just need everybody to stop touching me, because it was overwhelming to me. And it would make me get very anxious. It would make me become triggered, like angered, like have rage. It would make me be just irritated and short and snappy, because it was just too much on my body and my mind at one time. And even thinking about it, it's almost like I can feel like it's making me anxious right now to just think about that. But it was something that I dealt with, that was also something that I had to learn how to work through. And I'm so thankful that here recently it's something that has not been very overwhelming for me. And also another thing that just to realize, like for my, like in my story, is I'm also a teacher. So all day I have people touching me and talking to me, and I teach little bitty babies, and they developmentally, they're gonna touch you, right? They're gonna say, hey, I have to tell you something, or they're touching you, or they want to give you a hug. So it was like all day people were touching me, and sometimes like by the end of the night I was just over being touched by people, and it would make me kind of respond, and it would trigger different other things that would make just not me. I was just not a pleasant person to be around. Another thing, which is something that I feel like I've dealt with before I had children, but it became so much worse once I became pregnant, and after I had the baby, and in my postpartum, it was just worse. Like I would have these moments of like foggy brain, where I could not remember something. I didn't know where something was. And now, mind you, this was something that was a part of me before, but it got worse. Um, Very foggy about like what I just said, where something was, where something is that I just put down. I like would forget things all the time. I would tell my husband that I was going to do something, and then I would forget about doing it. And then it was just like very moments of just me just being like foggy, to where it's like, I don't know. All I could think about is being a mom. And sometimes I got that wrong. Sometimes like the kids would get like, giving them like their vitamins or medicine or things, like I would forget. And then I'm like, okay, I'm a horrible mom, because my child is sick and I have this medicine and I'm supposed to give it to him, but I got sidetracked with all this other stuff. And so and some of these things, a lot of these things were very things that other people I feel like deal with, obviously, but the way that it would affect me and my thinking and the rest of my day was what made me realize that it was a problem. Difficulty concentrating, as you can tell, like that's something that I still feel like every day of my life I still struggle with. My husband even realized one day, he was like, Lacey, I realized that you are not able to focus on one thing. And I feel like my brain is always on like 1 million, and it's just like racing, and I'm thinking about bad things happening, and how to, just all these things just at one time is a lot. It's a whole lot. So, and then like a lot of times, the last one I would say would be the times when like I would be up in the middle of the night for no reason, and I would not be able to sleep. And this is something that never really happened to me before, and it was like literally I would just be up thinking about all types of things, thinking about like how old my kids are going to be when they die. Am I going to die before them? Like these are the thoughts that would really like bog me down every single night. And it wasn't like you know how some people can think about these things and they think about it and they just kind of carry on. For me, it was not that way. Um, and I even had a talk with my husband about this before, and I was like, you know, babe, I don't know if this is normal, because the way that I think about these things every single day and the things that happen that make me think about these things, it made me feel like it was just not normal. It was not okay. So that was something that me and my husband talked about, and now I felt like that was something that was very, um, it was very excessive, and it was too much, and I was dwelling on it way too much. So that was also something that made me realize that mentally I was not okay, and where I was and what I needed to do and all those things. So now I'm gonna share some of the ways that I started to heal. I'm not gonna go into detail about everything because, like I said before, I was really kind of iffy about sharing this, but I am gonna share some of the things. So um, when I when I first realized that I was experiencing this, I want to say that baby girl may have been like 3 or 4 months. I can't really remember, somewhere in there, and maybe 2 months. So it was really between maybe 2 and 4 months. Um, so I reached out to my doctor, and like when I well, okay, let me backtrack. It was in my 6 week checkup. That was much earlier, so I just realized I thought about it when I had to go get checked out. So I started to talk to them, and that was when she diagnosed me with a mild case of postpartum depression, and basically was like telling me that somebody was going to contact me and all those things. And this is when it became a little bit overwhelming for me. And I don't know the circumstances of this or why this happened, but it really. While recording, I remember that the psych office called me once. I missed the call, they left a voicemail. Every single day after that, I called every day, and it immediately went to voicemail. I never heard from anyone else again from that number. Overwhelming for me, and I don't know the circumstances of this or why this happened, but it really breaks my heart sometimes at the way that all moms um, are sometimes overlooked, and I don't feel like it's on purpose. Like, I don't really know, and I don't want to get into this whole controversy of all these things. I do know that facts are that sometimes in some places women of color are overlooked and not really taken as serious as other women of other ethnicities. So I don't know if this was the case. I don't really know, and I'm not going to say that I know because I don't. But I never heard from anybody after being told that I would. So then I decided that I was going to start to look for my own. And sadly, it was very hard for me to do that. Like, I found some and I would email and they wouldn't respond. And it was just this ongoing thing of me trying to get help that I could not get. And I didn't know really where to go to get the help, right? So I ended up talking to someone at my job, and they were telling me about somewhere that they went for other reasons that also had a therapist there, and they referred me to and that's how I ended up getting a therapist and starting a healing process of really just learning how to cope with the things. And I know that everybody deals with things differently. I decided that I did not want to take any type of medication, that I wanted to be able to, if I could, I wanted to handle it in a very a way of just me talking about my feelings and expressing myself and learning different strategies, coping mechanisms, and all these things to help me through the process of everything that I was going through. And I will say that it changed my complete life. And I'm also going to do a video on that. If you're interested, leave a comment below, and I'm going to talk about how therapy changed my life as a Christian woman, especially in a world where people who believe in the Lord and who, have this strong faith sometimes believe that therapy is something that we should not do or that we don't have to do. It changed my life. It changed my life, and it changed my life. And I realized that everything that I was dealing with sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time was like deep, deep within. And me going through giving birth and all these hormones and all these things just made it heavier and made it just come out and expose its ugly head. So That was one of the things. And I also just started to take care of myself more, just self-care, just journaling. And that was something that was a great help to me writing things down and dumping my feelings every day. And of course, a lot of prayer. I had to be very intentional about my prayer, and that was something that kind of connects with the therapy. And I don't want to share too much here because I'm going to do a whole video on that. But prayer was a big component too of me learning what to pray and how to pray for myself as I was going through this, right? I feel like sometimes you don't really know what to pray or what to say, but I had to learn what to do or what to pray. So, and I will be right back because baby girl is crying and I have to go check on her to finish up this story. Okay, guys, so real life story. It is like late at night and she's waking up. She was sleeping with her dad and now she wants to be with her mom. I had to, prayer was a really big component or a big thing in me just getting through everything. So those were the things that really helped me, and just me talking to people that I loved and I cared about, expressing those feelings and not being afraid to say this is how I'm feeling. And I know another big component, something that was really important to me healing, was just me also educating the people around me. So I feel like this is a big deal when it comes to people around you knowing what you're going through, right? Because even with my husband, he knew that something was going on with me, but that doesn't mean that he knew how to help me, right? So I feel like one of the biggest things, I feel like if you feel like you're going through it, or before you even have your baby, or before you even start to plan to have a baby, learn about these things and educate the person that you're going to be going through this with, right? Because you can avoid it. I'm not going to say avoid it, but maybe you can just have yourself ready and prepared for it. Like knowing that this may happen to me. These things may occur. I may become overwhelmed. I may be depressed. Or I might just get baby blues and that be it. But just be prepared and educating those around you. And in my birth stories, I'm going to share the ways that we were prepared. The ways we prepared the first pregnancy versus how we prepared the second pregnancy was a major difference. So I feel like that is something that you all, like you, if you're a new mom, you need to do. So I really hope that my story is a blessing to you. I've heard so many things from moms just expressing to me how me sharing my story has helped them to want to do the same, or has helped them to, just feel like they're not alone. And some of them were moms who have toddlers, like saying that, Lacey, I went through this and I have never told anybody. I never said anything about it because I was afraid that somebody was going to say this or somebody was going to say that. So I really, I thank God for allowing me or giving me the courage to do this, because it took a lot of courage. It took a lot. It took a lot. It took a lot. And I'm just thankful that me sharing this story and sharing this with other moms can just help them. And I can be a light and just be there for other moms. So this wraps up the rest of my postpartum depression and anxiety story. There were other little minor things that I went through, but like I said, a lot of it was just triggering the bigger, uglier things. And if I do think of anything else, or if I go through something else, I will update you all or share it, or maybe put it in a Facebook post or put it in a description box or something. But if I will continue to let you come along with me on this journey, because it's a never-ending journey. Every day is a new day. I feel like every day I'm waking up and resetting my mind and reminding myself that there is a possibility that you can think something negative today. There is a possibility that you may not be in a great mood, but what are you going to do to change that? And I have to push myself. Like some days, guys, I wake up and I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to do anything. But I had to learn strategies and ways to reset my thinking and my mind to help me to just go and get it done. So, every day is a journey. Every day is a new day. Like, I'm still doing all the things that I would do normally. Um, and it takes a greater fight. I feel like before I had these babies and all this stuff, I used to think that it was so hard for me to do things or commit to things or accomplish things. Oh my goodness. Now it's even harder, especially with all the things that I feel like is happening in my mind. But I'm so grateful for God and just Him being with me, me going through this dark season and me going through all these things, but Him being there with me and showing me how to get through it, right? Sending me down these paths and to these people and meeting people and learning how to just practice, like get through life and get through the things that I was going through in a practical way while I was doing it spiritually as well. And I think that's so important that we realize that you you don't get through things just one way. You don't. And I'm going to talk about this so much in this video about therapy, but I really hope that this blesses you. And I know this other video is going to bless y'all so much. So, mama, if you are going through postpartum depression or anxiety right now, I encourage you to talk to someone. Eventually, I do feel like you need to pray and ask God to send you or lead you to a professional. But if you are not ready to go to a professional, talk to someone that you trust and that you care and just tell them what's going on with you. And if you don't know how to get help or what to do, let someone else get that help for you. It will change your life. It will make you a better mom. It will make you feel better, because I'm going to take that back. You're already a good mom. You're already a great, phenomenal mom. But you speaking about what you're going through and talking about this with someone who is trying to help you will change your life. It will help you to be a better you and love you more and be kind to yourself and speak uplifting words to yourself and process things differently, and all these things it will do for you. God sees you. God sees your journey, and He has a beautiful story, a beautiful way of healing you. And I want to be on that journey with you. So thank you for joining me on my healing journey as I heal from postpartum depression and anxiety. I love y'all so much, and I really hope that this space is a blessing to you and that it is everything that you need in this moment. Please, 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 if you have just been blessed or touched or just enjoy having mommy chats, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so that every time I upload a video that you are here to see it and you are reminded of it and you are notified. And also tell me in the comments things that you might want to hear from me or see from me. I do have some videos that are that I have in mind that I've already started to plan for you, so please look out for them and just be blessed. Thank you so much, and thank you and thank you for joining me here in this space on this channel. Blessings to you, your family, your babies, and everybody attached to you. You are loved, you are victorious, and you will beat and conquer the things that are trying to take you out. I am here to do it with you, and we will win and conquer this. She's beating me down. Love y'all.